Hey, folks, welcome to Affiliate Nerd Out. I am your nerderator, Dustin House. Spreading that good word about affiliate marketing. You're going to find me here every Thursday at 12 Pacific time. Put it on the calendar. Join me on LinkedIn, where me and a guest are hanging out and talking affiliate. My guest today, Will Gaines. Welcome to the Nerdatorium, sir.
Hello, Dustin, and hello, everyone listening. Happy to be here. Big fan of the podcast, and I can't recommend it enough as a resource for people who are in the affiliate industry. It's like having an extra friend you can consult with, and it's good information to help guide you through your affiliate world.
Well, that is an excellent compliment. I really appreciate this. And I know you're not just saying that. Our pre-record session, we were talking a little bit about how much I hate checking out data. And you were like, yeah, I've noticed that. You must be listening. Yes, this is great. Hey, thanks for being here. If you'd like to be in Will's seat, go to dustinhouse.com/nerd and fill out submission on what you want to nerd out about. This is how Will got here. Just so glad he did because we're talking about a topic that I'm not a big fan of, and I'd love to pick the brains of people that are good at things that I am not. But before we get into that, Will, who are you?
I am Will Gaines. I've been in the affiliate world for 15 years. I've done pretty much everything. Started off as an analyst. My most recent corporate role was global director of partnership marketing. I was responsible for affiliate marketing, social, refer a friend, loyalty programs. Now I'm a freelance consultant, consulting with technology companies and some supplement companies, helping them figure out their affiliate strategy and guiding them through their social media world.
Excellent. I guess you answered this. What do you do and who do you serve? You're taking on clients as a consultant. You're helping them in the affiliate space. Is it digital marketing? Is it anything beyond affiliate?
Primarily affiliate, but also helping some of my clients come to me and ask, what should we do with TikTok? Advising on TikTok Shop and Meta Shops, which have been really profitable spaces. A lot of us are holding our breath, waiting to see what's going to happen on the TikTok front over the coming weeks with the Supreme Court and with everything potentially happening there.
Yeah, that is a hot topic. I need to get somebody else on here about TikTok that's a master at shops and everything like that. That's a good point. Whoever's out there listening, TikTok shop, you know it? Let's talk. Let's get you in here. Today's topic of the day, though, is making annual planning surprisingly fun. When you proposed this topic, I said yes immediately because I hope you're right. I've never called annual planning fun by any means, but that's just not me. I want to pick the brain of somebody that actually does enjoy this kind of concept. Super excited to have you here talking about it. So, with that in mind, let's start at the beginning. What is annual planning in your mind?
Annual planning is taking some time to really think about, take your client, or if you're in-house and you work for a company and you're responsible for partner marketing efforts, thinking about the whole year. Most often we are tasked with getting past this quarter, right? What are your plans for Q1? What are
Okay.
your plans for this product launch? What are your plans for this holiday? All critically important. But I find it's a lot more useful when you take a longer term view, look at the whole 12 months. For most companies, there are the same landmarks that happen every year. There's the same big holidays that matter to them. If you're in the health and wellness space, that's usually Q1 coming out of Christmas. Everyone wants to be new year, new you. If you're in the technology space, consumer electronic, that's usually Q4. If you're in a renewable product where you release products every year, you probably do it on the same cycle around the same time every year. My point is, there are these landmarks that happen. You know them on January 1. You might not know exactly what date that launch is going to happen, but it's going to be, say, in August, when Black Friday is going to be,
Sure.
when Christmas is going to be. So why not take the time at the beginning of the year to lay out those big dates, review your performance over the prior year, and start thinking about what you're going to need as you move through the year and start making those asks early, particularly for budget. Those of us in affiliate know that we are often the last place on the budget scale. So if you can get ahead of everybody else, make your asks early, support those asks with data, that puts you way ahead of everyone else.
I love that concept. Something I don't do enough, not necessarily because I'm bad at it. I love the creation concept of it. The organization part of it makes me a little anxious. I feel like my time's better spent doing more outreach and creating lists. So it's not in my ballpark. I'm so glad that somebody's out there doing it. Some of the best jobs I've ever had is somebody on my team that is like you, that has this kind of vision and helpful thought process to actually do this. Now, with that in mind, you mentioned Q1 and supplements being in your portfolio. Q1 is super hot. New you, new year kind of thing. Is this the best time to be doing this content strategy, or is it before the new year gets started in December when you're winding down after Black Friday?
That's a really good point. Depending on your client, depending on your product set, annual planning can happen January 1, it can happen March 1. For clients in the supplements and wellness space, I consider calendar Q1 really a part of Q4 planning
Hmm.
because November is not a time when anyone is thinking about starting new health habits. And before Christmas is not a time when people are thinking of starting new health habits.
Yeah.
So I make those Q1 plans for those types of clients really in Q4. Q4 plans for consumer electronics company, that's a good Q3 time to make those plans. When I think about health and wellness, Q1 for those types of clients should already be pretty well ironed out. You should have
Mhm.
some good, maybe everything isn't baked, but you should have the recipes already picked out and the ingredients ready to go because it is go time.
Beautiful. So it is adaptable to everybody's busy time of the year. And what are some of those really important reasons to go and do this? And how can you motivate people on the affiliate team to actually do this planning when they're busy building those relationships? And this might fall off the table sometimes for some affiliate managers. What would you say to motivate people to get this done?
The earlier you act, the better position you'll be to be seen as a leader. For many sectors, starting in February, we're going to start seeing sales drop off. By March, those sales will really be dropped off from those Q4 and January highs. Different sectors, different effects. Health and wellness, that's not necessarily the case. But for many brands, most of that spending was just done in Q4. And so you're going to start getting asked questions. What are we doing? What are we going to do to counteract these dropped sales? Those sales usually stay soft for many sectors, particularly consumer electronics, all the way through till about June. You don't start to see the sales kick back up again until dads and grads back to school shopping. Think of computers, mobile phones, things like that. Those are very cyclical products that usually only start to go back up again around major launches. And then, of course, all the ancillary products, phone cases, and all the things that are dependent on those big launches. So you want to be in a position to answer that question now. Before the question gets put to you, what are you going to do to get sales back up? What do you need to get sales up or at least stem that decline, which is inevitable coming off of those high sales periods? But you got to have a good response to it. It's good to have a plan.
Excellent point. You came to this call and said, like a true organizational pro, I've got a plan for our podcast today, and I've broken it into chapters. I think that's a really good mind frame to have. I have the base outline of most of the things that I do on this podcast, and that works for me in my organization. What are some of those essential things that you need to do when you're bringing out this annual planning? What are the things that are most important and must do's on this annual plan?
I think the number one thing, unsurprisingly, is reviewing your data. Over the next 3 weeks, major affiliate networks and some of the big thought leaders are going to start releasing their Q4 digest. What happened over the holidays? What did we think was going to happen? What actually happened? What sectors performed well? What sectors didn't? Those are a really good resource to take a look at and get a macro picture for just like how the space is performing. But for your specific brands, it's a good time to take a look if you have 2 years of data, 3 years of data. And I like to layer them in a line chart. All right, January 2023, January 2022. Did I see the same trends each of those years? And when you lay that out over a whole 12-month period, you get a picture of what to expect for the coming year. And I've worked with many brands in different sectors. Usually you see the same peaks and valleys as you move through the year. Product launches happen generally around the same time. The same holidays that are relevant for your product last year are going to be relevant for your product this year. So laying out that data and then waymarking those dates, that's the first and really the easiest thing to start out with. The answers will present themselves to you very quickly. You'll see the peaks, you'll see the valleys, and you can start thinking now, okay, so there's a valley coming, and sales are going to go down in another 6 weeks for my product set. What's my answer going to be? It might be when those sales go down, that's a great opportunity for me to do some testing and spend that time onboarding new partners who may not generate sales during that low period, but start nurturing those relationships that when sales go up again, we've got a force multiplier and we've brought some new people into the ecosystem.
Super smart. I've been a part of this process before where I was at WP Engine and we had this real bad lull at the end of December where people were not buying the product. Everybody's on Christmas break. Nobody's shopping, or everybody's bought all the things and they're out of money and they're not going to invest in web hosting right now. But we came up with the concept of created a holiday and called it, since it was the best, I don't remember what we called it, but since it was the best time, since everybody has this downtime, what a better time than when you don't have a lot to do to switch your hosting into something better, right? And so we came up with a week holiday that we called, I can't even remember the campaign, but it worked very well. And so I've always come up with that concept of creating holidays is a good idea, but
I
maybe
love
not
this idea.
for every brand. But if you're seeing a lull, is creating a holiday a good concept for you?
Absolutely. And you can tap into pretty much every sector. There's National Pi Week. There's National Internet
Yeah.
Security Week. There's National Cyber Security Week, different from International Security Week.
Yeah.
Taking a look at some of those unconventional places where your products could be valuable. You make a fitness tracker. Q1 is great, but summer could also be an opportunity for you to look at creating a 10,000 step challenge and promoting that through. And another part of this planning is here's what happened in affiliate or partnership marketing. Where are some areas where I can work with some of the other marketing areas for my client? Are there some suggestions that I can say for their email team? Hey, we saw this as a great sales period. It might be an opportunity in your email side of things to work with me and your paid media team. Together, we can create a holiday like you described, or a campaign that is integrated that might fall out of a big holiday period. What's great about that is there's less noise at Christmas time and at Black Friday time. Your costs are through the roof. Your CPAs are going to be higher. All of your bidding are going to be much, much higher. And all your competitors are going to be coming out of the woodwork at the same time. So when you can find these periods where things are quieter from a marketing standpoint, where the market generally is quieter, and maybe in a soft sales period for your company or for your client, that's a perfect opportunity to try creating a holiday like you described, or tapping into some other national holiday that doesn't get a lot of attention. There's a lot of them. There's Women's Health Month. There's tons of them. If you do a little research, there's something out there for every product set.
So true. I think there's a holiday for every day of the year. If you go and look at a calendar, every day has a day, every week has a week, and every month has a month. Maybe I'll drop a link below to help you out. But get creative with it is the whole concept. Now, along with that, a content calendar. Does this coincide with after you evaluate that data, now we're going to create these holidays and campaigns that are going to work? How do you go about attacking this content calendar?
But yeah, I think it's content calendar is right up there with data. The data answers the question, how did we do? Content calendar answers the question of how should we do it? What are the key things we should be drawing attention to for our clients or for our company? If you're managing affiliate for a company that provides services or products, usually there's lots of material inside of the company. There's all kinds of creative resources available that their product marketing team might be creating for you. You might even be able to look at your company's blog to get some ideas. I look at their top 5 competitors and I just Google them like crazy. What are the things that they're saying? What have they been doing? What did they do last year?
Oh, very
You
nice.
can use some great tools inside of the Meta universe to see what sort of ads did they run for holiday last year. What did they run over the last 6 months? What are they running now? And that can give you some good ideas. It tells you what's the space doing, but it also tells you what are consumers seeing,
Mhm.
because these messages are being put out by your competitors. So that's a good way of just getting some of the creative juices flowing as you're starting to put that together. And then again, it's the same with the data. You know what's going to happen at holiday time. You might not know exactly what offers you might have available. You might not know exactly what the market conditions are going to be. For most products, between November and December, that's going to be your most heavy promotion period. For health and wellness, that moves to after Christmas through till March.
Mhm.
It's the same every year, reviewing some of the content from years prior. And if you're new to a company or a client, you don't have that historical knowledge, looking at competitors can give you a really good jump start.
Excellent. You brought something up about being a leader in your organization, and I think this is a super important aspect of why and what motivates people to do this content calendar and annual planning. I feel like affiliate managers get pigeonholed in a company on a if they're on a team of the marketing, like they know affiliate, they're just gonna stay in their lane. But content and annual planning like this is a great way to show initiative to the executives and your CMO that you can go up to that next level and you can be a director. Can you explain what you've seen work? Is it a good idea for those affiliate managers to be doing this and taking the initiative?
Absolutely. What we are uniquely positioned to see is not just what the consumer is doing, what the customer is doing. Everyone who has data, the email manager can see what the customer bought. The paid search team can see what the customer bought. What we have that nobody else has is what partners are saying. What's the feedback that we can hear from lots of others in between us and the customer?
Mhm.
No other channel really has that. And so in the partnership world, that's insight that we can bring that literally no one else can. From social media to comparison sites, we just have a lot richer reservoir of feedback that we can give. So bringing that forward, what are we hearing? What's feedback we're hearing from partners? What are they saying worked? What are they saying didn't work? And also having that data plan specific to our channel and asking the question, hey, email, what did you see over the last 12 months? Paid media, what did you see over the last 12 months? That is how leadership looks.
Yeah.
When you're the first one, you're usually seen as the leader.
Great point. And so, part of that, planning and checking it out and really digging into which affiliates are working and which aren't, and which are bringing the incremental value and which are not, and which are having multi-touch and which are closing immediately. Like, all of that data should be evaluated and, shared with an organization, and, like, putting that together in that annual plan is a really good concept that you should be considering, right?
Absolutely.
How do you keep data clean in your mind?
What I mean by that is data that is really well verified. You've taken some time to do a little bit of analysis. So instead of just sales were up, sales were down, sales were up because of these five publishers, these five products over this period of time, and these specific tactics that I deployed during that period. So having the complete story, they say that information is data plus analysis. So having information and not just data. Everyone is crazy for data, but data on its own isn't worth much without some analysis to make it actionable information. Having clean data that you can save and reference back throughout the year and years to come. So that's great if you get to work on the same piece of business year after year, but it's also great when you work with other clients. When you get a new client today and what should we do for this year, you can go back and look at your data for the last few years for other clients. And this sector saw this performance during this period. From that, I can extrapolate a plan for this client who maybe I've just started with and they haven't shared a lot of information with me yet, but I can still start developing a plan, and again, show them early in our relationship that I'm going to lead
Mhm. Mhm.
and be a resource to them.
For sure. One of the best ways you can do that is adding in sub IDs. This is a very underutilized component of affiliate marketing. If you don't have an affiliate tracking solution that has sub IDs that you can verify, you need to get on one essentially. This is the best way to keep that data clean so that you can visit it a little bit further down the road.
Absolutely. This publisher and this particular tactic that we did with this
Yeah.
publisher, this link and this place that we deployed on this day, that's really important. So keeping those records as you're going through and executing on the plan is just as important as the planning on the front end.
And if you don't have those in place today, today is the best day to start getting that data and keeping it clean for the future. Equally important is probably the things that didn't work, right?
You want to have part of marketing is trying things. You do your best to make a plan and research and hope that it's going to do well and do everything you can to make it a success. But sometimes it doesn't work. For whatever reason, that partnership didn't work. And you want to understand why, number one, so you can be ready to explain it. Also, you want to understand why so that when you're going to try it again, you have a better sense of what to not repeat. The problem wasn't the partner. We have a great history with them. The problem was we picked the wrong product at the wrong time, or we picked the right product at the right time, but we didn't go for the right audience, or we didn't put enough budget into it, or we put too much budget into it with the wrong ROI expectation. So understanding why it didn't work is critically important.
Beautiful. One, also holidays. Your holidays that you make up, they might fail miserably, and you don't want to try that again next year. I remember at Retail Me Not, my wife was working there, and the marketing campaign came up with pumpkin-headed turkey myth. They tried to combine all the holidays at once into this one terrible mascot. I don't have the picture of it, but it was a disaster of a campaign, and that didn't happen the next year, but it was fun. You gotta try those things out on the marketing side, especially if you got some budget to play around with. It's fun to be on the marketing team sometimes.
Absolutely. You can understand why. Here was our goal. Here's why we tried it. It didn't work out. I have found that most, whether it's a VP of marketing, a director of marketing, a director of e-com, whatever, they're looking for the big ideas because we're all trying to contribute to a bigger number. Sometimes you've got to hit a little harder. You got to take some risks to hit that bigger number. I wouldn't be afraid of trying those bigger things. Now, you got to do your research. You've got to have a good plan
Yeah,
and do the postmortem and understand what worked and what didn't. I wouldn't be afraid of trying those big things.
good
And
point.
you might be afraid of being punished for it not working out, but I have found even if it doesn't work out, if you had a good plan and you had a big vision and you really applied something that made sense, there's no negative consequences. People appreciate you going big and trying something.
Love
People
it.
want to hear that story just as much as they want to hear when.
I love it. Yes, totally agree on that point. As we wind down here, it's time for you to defend your post. And I went through your LinkedIn profile, and here's what I found. This is the most embarrassing LinkedIn profile I've ever seen.
I
5
know.
connections, no posts whatsoever,
I
15
know.
years in the industry. What are you doing out there?
I am the worst with my own personal social media. I love working on other people's stuff. I love working on clients. And you look at your own and it's like, well, that doesn't feel as important. One of my goals for 2025 is to not be as embarrassing. I actually have a plan
Okay.
to do better in 2025 because it's not great. It's not super up to date. I've got a bunch of people that I'm just needing to go in and click accept. I'm going to go in and clean out that list.
All
So if
right.
you're there wondering why you haven't heard from me, you will soon.
All right. I'm going to hold you to that. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help to get you to that 500 level of respectability. Good luck in your journey this year as you do that. Lastly, how do we connect with you?
But you can still reach me on LinkedIn.
We sir?
Much, much better at
Yep.
being responsive on LinkedIn.
Good.
So that's the best way.
Thanks so much for joining me for this fun conversation and making your annual planning a necessity that all affiliate managers should be thinking about. Appreciate your time, buddy.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having
Awesome.
me.
All right, folks.